This is my parsley patch. Isn't it gorgeous? Let's go freeze dry some. Washing it is going to take longer than anything else. You just really have to get in there and wash every single leaf. I don't usually find that slugs eat the parsley, but they definitely travel through it. Another good reason to wash really well. A salad spinner works so well to get the excess water out. And then I just leave it out on the trays to dry before I put it into the freeze dryer. When loading up the trays with herbs, I try to pile them just as high as the edges of the trays. They can go a little higher than that because the place in the freeze dryer does allow for a little bit more room. But if they're piled too high, the edge of the freeze dryer, you see as I'm pushing it in, it will push all the food back out at you and it just makes a mess. But these were loaded up nicely. They slid right in, no problem. Well, this last tray has a little bit of that pushing back the food, but not too bad. I just shoved it back in there. Okay, ready to go. Even though they are not pre-frozen, it should take less than a day to get them done. There's not a lot of water in the parsley. All right, they're all done. They took 25 hours, but that's because my daughter kept adding more dry time since I was at work and not there to deal with them. I always open up one of the trays and feel around in the middle and see if the food is warm to the touch in the inside. You don't want to have any cold spots. And I like to pick the thickest stems to see how they feel. And it should crunch and kind of fall apart easily. Then you know they're done. Aren't they pretty? The dehydrated herbs generally get to be more dull in color and even kind of brownish sometimes, but the freeze-dried ones are just so beautiful, vibrant green. If you want to separate your leaves from your stems, it's so much faster and easier to do it after it's freeze-dried. You just gently pull it off the stems or break off the pieces that don't pull well. Super fast. I am separating my stems from my leaves. I'm going to put the leaves all in these small bottles. After separating one tray's worth of parsley, I've got that little pile of leaves and then the stems. The leaves ended up filling up one jar, and it seemed a little full, so I just got a spoon and shoved it all in there. It crushes really easy once it's freeze-dried, and so you can actually cram a lot more in there than you think you can. And then I'm just closing it up with a canning jar ring and lid. That one is ready to go. The stems I'm going to store in a quart jar, and one of these days I will make a broth with them, but they will store just fine until I get around to it. I'm sealing this one with one of the ball leak-proof lids. I really like these. I'll link these down below if anybody wants them. They're fantastic. Jar 2, jar 3. Parsley has some really good properties. It's really good for you. I'm considering using some of these stems to make parsley tea. Probably some of the leaves as well, but don't waste your herb stems. They still have good stuff in them. So finishing up the 4th jar, I'm not using Mylar bags or oxygen absorbers because these are just for short-term storage. I'm going to be giving some parsley to friends and then using it also myself. If we were going to do long-term storage, we want to put them in the better packaging.